Hi, I am Kimile, and this is Heal with Kimile podcast. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about the number one complaint couples have with each other, and that is that we just can't communicate. I don't feel understood. I feel like they talk over me. I'm not able to get my needs met, and they don't care. So, communication is the number one issue with the people that I talk to. And when you can't communicate to your partner and you never resolve things, like things just don't get resolved, you just feel like you're hurling insults at each other. It's really, really disheartening because this was your person. When you first got together, communication seemed to flow most of the time. Maybe it didn't, but most of the time. And you shared things about yourself with that person. And that person knew you intimately and they were safe. You felt like you could trust them. This was going to be someone you could be with the rest of your life. And look, there had to be some sort of rapport or communication when you started, or you wouldn't continue and have gone down the road to get committed. But it seems like for some couples that once the commitment starts, there's a different feeling that takes over. So let me give you a distinction. With your buddies and your girlfriends, there's a unconditional space that you hold for each other. Well, most people, they don't judge their friends. Their friends can, get drunk and, look like young people, immature people, and they're still liked and they're still hung out with. There's an acceptance of your friends. But when you put on the hat of, I'm going to be the spouse, I'm going to be the partner, the wife, the husband, there is an expectation in that realm. And so my husband is supposed to do this. My wife is supposed to do this. My partner is supposed to do this. So there seems to be this unspoken new expectation of your spouse, your partner. And if that's not clarified and they're not agreeing to it, then that's where communication breakdowns happen. Look, failed expectations is the number one reason for an upset. So if you're expecting something that you're not getting, you're going to get upset and then you're going to take it out on your partner. And maybe there's unspoken rules like, well, we are married, so therefore we are supposed to be monogamous and he's supposed to pick me first and things like that. I agree with that. But if you really can't communicate without jabs or insults or reminding them of their failings in the past, people get off in the weeds when they try to start talking together. So when a couple comes to see me, they're usually, sitting in folded arms and, closed body positions, and they're leaning away from each other. They're not leaning in. And I have chairs that turn. So I'm like, okay, face each other. And I have them do eye contact. So I have them sit and look in each other's eyes, and they get the giggles. It's kind of awkward or uncomfortable, or they don't want to do it. They're still, closed body position. But I have them start getting present. So if you can be present right here, right now, and you can focus on each other and listen and let the emotions come, and there's usually anger, but anger is a secondary emotion. The first emotion is pain. It's upset. It's sadness. It's grief. It's you feel let down. And if you can share that in a way that doesn't, I say ball kick your partner, then maybe that emotion can lift. People bring up the past for one of two reasons I found. They bring up the past to make you feel bad and guilt trip you and hold you hostage emotionally. And maybe that's a manipulation to get something out of you, or just to make you feel bad about yourself. So there's a moral high ground that your partner has over you. But guilt trips are, in my estimation, kind of an emotional violence. I think it's something that is abusive. It just doesn't work. Bottom line, it just doesn't work. Guilt tripping does not work. So if you're reminding your person of their past failings, there's a motivation behind that. It's maybe working for you. And it's a power play. It's a way to dominate them. And if you stayed, even though they betrayed you, even though they were whoever they were for you, if they hurt you, or maybe they've hurt someone else and you keep reminding them how bad they are. If you remind your partner of their past failings routinely, there's an agenda there. You've got some sort of plan, or this works for you somehow. So you may feel like you're better. You have the moral high ground. That's not healthy. Another reason you bring up the past routinely is because you're not over it. You're not over it. You're still hurt by it. You haven't been able to clear that. It could remind you of a prior betrayal or a prior issue that you really haven't resolved, either from childhood or from a previous relationship. So now it's kind of collapsed on top of each other. It's that pain and this current relationship pain, and it's just all over you, and you haven't been able to work through it because it's now superimposed on the present time, and you're still stuck from the past hurt, and now you got a new hurt, and they're kind of collapsed together, which can get worked out with conversations with counselors, me, someone else. But you've got to take responsibility for that. If you're upset, it's your problem. not everyone else's problem. And that's where, when I see couples, if they want to come in and just bash and fight with each other, I'm like, time out. Y'all can do that at home. You're here with me. Let's really look at what's going on. And ultimately, the only person you have any authority to change or any authority to really have influence on is yourself. You can power struggle and guilt trip. And even the people that are in a relationship where one's very verbal and they're kind of mouthy and they're little, insulting, they have little jabs, little digs, and the other partner just sits there quietly stoic. Look, that person's they're not deaf to that. They hear it. They know that they're being, put down and dismissed or denigrated. They know what's going on, and you're not going to get much out of them. They're just going to sit there and withhold. They withhold love. They withhold communication. They withhold their plans. You're not included in their heart. You're kind of, you're over there now because you're judging them. See, there's no room for judgment inside of relationships. And the minute you start judging and putting the person down or attacking them verbally or attacking them at all, you now become an unsafe person. And, I find couples that are before marriage, again, oh, yeah, of course, baby, everything's great. Reassuring and letting each other know how much they love them. And then they get married, baby's on the way or something, or there's money now involved. We have a joint asset together. We have family coming in. Now that person has got something to lose. There's a risk here, And so you either keep talking and staying open with that and, share. Yeah, I've never had to share a home with anybody. I've never had to share a car, never shared children. But if you don't have an open realm of communication with your partner and you can't share your feelings and thoughts, concerns, and again, just life in general without being judged or being criticized, you will withhold truth. And, it's kind of, I kind of want to say it's what people do with a job. It's kind of like job security. I mean, how honest can you be with your boss? Can you tell your boss, F off? I don't like this job. Can you complain? Probably not too much. Because if you get really rigorous or honest and really talk about your concerns, you can get fired. So there's a risk you have lost there with being too authentic and too expressive with your boss. Same thing in a marriage. Now this person has something on you or you have something together and you don't want to have a fight. You don't want to end it. You don't want to break up. So you start pretending and everything's okay when it's not. You step over stuff. And the minute I get people to just get present with each other, start communicating again, all of those concerns come up. All of that stuff comes up. Well, if I say this, you're going to leave me. If I get drunk with my buddies, you're going to leave me. There's all this fear of abandonment that usually surfaces. And if you've got a fear of abandonment or a fear of your partner, suing you or taking you to court, getting even or revenge, you're not going to be yourself. You're not going to be authentic. So how's communication going? It's not. And so we start doing these little, power play games. And when communication starts, to derail that communication, we bring up the past. That's how we, again, avoid the moment and not really get any resolve. So you walk away from the conversation thinking, that was terrible. I'm never doing that again. That was not constructive, because you feel worse about yourself when you need to have these real conversations. But people will distract from their real topic, their real subject, and they'll talk about the past. They'll talk about something else. They will pick apart how you said something and, your attitude. Well, you just put me down. And so now that's about that power struggle. You're off in the weeds around that, how something was spoken or texted or whatever, instead of just keeping on track with the subject. And it's important to remember that if you're in a serious communication about the future of your relationship or something, that you try and keep it on topic. You don't get caught up over in the weeds or the insults or the past. That's just going to exacerbate the anger and the frustration. But when people just let go of trying to be right, when that whole I'd rather be right than sorry, they want to win. They want to win in the argument. And they'll come in. It's kind of funny. They want me to side with them one way or the other. And I'm like, no. You have children? I'm siding with the children. Okay. So it's like, I try and get people to be really honest with what they're really feeling, what they've really been thinking, because we quit telling that to our partners. We quit talking authentically and honestly with our partners. And your friends know everything. You go to your friends and gripe and bitch and moan about your relationship, right? So there's lots of ways we mess up our communication with each other. But if you don't get the communication corrected and you don't start getting into me, you see, like intimate again with your communication, you're going to live in a power struggle era. And look, there's stages of a relationship. Phase one is, in love and everything's great. There's no problems. And you're high. I mean, romance is a drug. Love feels like a drug when that person accepts you and you feel like you can be yourself and you get committed. Then the power struggle phase begins. And power struggle phase, that's all this is a power struggle phase. That you want to keep your territory, you don't want to share it, whatever, you don't want to lose territory. You start dealing with power struggling together, and that could last, 4 days to 40 years. But you want to get over the power struggle phase as quick as possible. And hopefully you've got someone that's willing to do the same with you. And if you're both engaged, you're both communicating, you both want this to work. And I also believe, look, people think, I can't tell them that. I can't tell her that. I can't tell him that because, oh my gosh, they're going to have this horrible reaction. We're going to fight. Or, well, then you're going to fight. But if you live life pretending everything's okay when it's really not, what is that getting you or them? You've now become this poser, this pretender. You're inauthentic. You're dishonest. It's like you're living a lie. And look, people are on to you. I mean, people are on to people that are pretending and they really don't want to be there, but they're there because they don't want to give up the money or whatever. There's all these reasons people stay in a relationship, but you really want to be together and you want to work it out and you want to have what you need and they need to have what they need. So what I do with these couples is I get them talking again. I make FaceTime, eye contact, look at each other, be with each other. And I say, okay, you're going to be quiet, your turn to shush, and then your partner's going to speak. My number one concerns about this relationship are, and they need to go, they need to talk, they need to share whatever that is. And then I flip it. What's your number one concerns in this relationship? And they have to listen. They don't get to interrupt and, well, you're wrong or get, all exacerbated. I'm like, no response. No drama, no cross talking, And then after I say comments about that and you get a comment from, well, I, this, not you. If you want to make someone feel bad, sick and wrong, again, that just derails communication. So there's a fair amount of time that each person gets when they sit and talk, and the other person gets to listen and then tell me exactly what that person just said. What are they going through? What are they meaning by that? And have you contributed to this frustration or pain? Yeah. Okay. And are you doing that on purpose? Yeah, usually, because I want to get even. Well, they hurt me, so I'm hurting them back. It's like, power struggle is like sibling rivalry sometimes. But once you lay down the weapons and you want to resolve something, there is a level of peace that can come in. And when you actually can have a structured conversation with the most important person in your life, the co-parent of your children, and you can have it be healthy and productive, where you feel like you walk away from that conversation. Okay, she understood. He understood. My partner gets what I'm going through. And then maybe they don't agree with it, but they at least understand where I'm at. I'm telling you, that is emotional air. That finally that person heard you. And if you can get that pain out and your partner can attune to the other, like they can tune in and listen and give attention to, and not run and defend and deflect and, well, justify and this is why. And again, it just doesn't work. You have to have accountability. You've got to be like, I did that. Absolutely. And that hurt you. And I'm sorry for that. And I want to move past it. I want to get past this. How do we get past this? Because I don't want to hear it the rest of my life. Well, you get past it by being willing to listen to it and validate that person's concerns and vice versa. But if you're the kind of person that will hold that against somebody forever, you're going to have people lie to you. People lie to people that are power players. Or if, you wonder why your teenagers lie to you, well, maybe there's going to be a consequence. People lie because they don't want the consequence, right? But if you're someone who has an overreaction to something, or you're a judger, you're going to judge that person, or they're going to disappoint you, and you're going to hold that against them because you'll personalize everything. Look, if you're sensitive and you personalize everything, you're going to be hard to be with. I'm just going to be honest. Those are difficult people to please. And so you've got people around you that will engage with you at a surface level. They won't really share their heart and their soul. They're not going to fully trust you because they don't know if they can, because it's going to be a sensitive thing and you might use it against them. So being in a relationship is, it takes a confront of life. It takes a awareness in yourself. You need to be accountable for your own emotions. And I would say to people, look, I realize someone hurt you and they did this and that, but that you're upset about it, that you're going through what you're going through, that's on you to fix it. They can't take it back. We can't go back in time and change it. If that person hurt you and betrayed you, et cetera, getting even is going to get you what? How's that going to work? And especially in the relationship world, maybe in business, you sue them or something, but in the relationship world, wanting to get even and power struggling and power playing, making sure they don't get what they want, that's just creating misery. And if you've got kids around that, you've got family, that's just not healthy for you either. Because who are you turning into? You're going to play the emotional police or the betrayal police or something. And if that person's really betraying you routinely, then why are you still there? If this is going on, why are you still there? I really try and get people to see that if they're upset, they have to work out that issue. And it's not going to get resolved usually with that partner that upset them. They've got to do something with that. They've got to process through that. And ultimately what happens is they actually quit taking it personal and they quit engaging and giving that other person the reaction. For example, I've never met a drug addict that didn't pick fights with their loved ones and then have a reason to go use. So it's like they want the distance. They want to fight. And then they can take off and go do what they want to do and justify it. Say, well, we fought. Well, you were being whatever. And so I get to go use. That's someone that you're not in a relationship with. Their priority is their addiction. So what are you doing there? Why are you still there? I mean, I had someone yesterday say to me, her boyfriend's messing around with other girls. And I said, what are you doing? You're still having sex with him? Yeah. Okay. Well, why? Why are you still, well, I did hurt him. I kind of broke up with him. Okay. You broke up. Why? I mean, what was that about? She was feeling claustrophobic. He was just smothering her. He was so much. He was really codependent with her. She needed a breather. And so she wanted a little distance. Well, what does he do? He's wounded, mortally wounded. How dare you? And now he's messing around with her friends. And she's still seeing him. Why are you still seeing this guy? Well, I just don't want him to end it. What do you mean? You're already ended it. You're not in a relationship. I know, but so there's just this really interesting dynamic. It's a power play. Do I believe he really likes the friends? No. I think he's doing everything he can to guilt trip her, mess with her, humble her. Like, you'll never do that to me again. And so he's punishing her. This is a punishment. That power play doesn't work. And if you stay with someone like that, you let that happen and you feed into that, that's just teaching them that you'll be broken by them or they can do whatever the heck they want to get even with you. That's an immature person. That person's not relationship ready. They're not ready to be honest and straightforward and deal with their emotions fairly and look at, I really hate that. I hated that you kind of broke up with me, but maybe I need to look at myself. Am I too needy? Like, that person's not ready for that. And these are young people. They really are young people. But I'm trying to get her to see that staying in this dynamic, letting that dynamic continue is only, now we're going down that road. We're going down that rabbit hole instead of really being in an effective relationship. So I say when that kind of behavior starts, the power playing behavior starts, pull back, stop the behavior, don't engage in it. The minute you start reacting, the reaction is now sucking your energy. And if it's an unhealthy dynamic, then that reaction is it's going to waste time and energy because you're not getting anywhere. I even tell people when you're not being listened to, stop talking. Like, quit trying to get louder and more boisterous or physical. Like, just stop talking. If that person's not listening, stop talking. And well, how long do I do that? Well, you have someone who doesn't listen. So, I mean, I'd say get some help with this, get a mediator or a counselor involved. But I would not keep chasing something when that person's deliberately trying to dodge and weave and, stonewall, et cetera. You're in an unhealthy relationship if that's going on. But how are you going to, be healthy for yourself? Well, again, pull back and don't go along with that power struggle. I've seen so many couples just like they engage, they react, they power play back, and then police get involved. It gets physical. It's like, because you're not really seeing that you're getting hooked. You're getting hooked in some sort of game and power play. And it's a huge waste of time. It doesn't produce anything. You're not satisfied. You feel misunderstood and not heard. And then life goes by and you've wasted precious years of your life. Engage in healthy. If it's unhealthy, pull back and, be accountable to yourself. Make sure you're not turning into someone you hate. And if you are, there's ways to fix that. So if any of this helps you and you think that you'd like to talk to me about it, I'm available. You can reach me at healwithkimile.com. That's HEAL with KIMILE.com. Have a peaceful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.